Yeah, we've practiced, I guess, right at 3 weeks now. And, we're trying to get the girls ready to go at the same time, minimize the risk for injury. And it's fun. It's been a lot of fun. Been really a great month so far. Extremely talented team. The biggest difference for me as a coach is the maturity level of the kids. They're sophomores, juniors, seniors now instead of freshmen, freshmen, sophomores. And we just feel like a more mature veteran ball club. And then, of course, you got key players in that sophomore class, Maya, Lauren, Chloe, Vic, Sissy, that, when we got through a lot of tough tests last year, a lot of wars, where they were able to go through a lot of wars, and they're having them up as sophomores and key players. Just makes our ball club average out a lot more mature team. And I think that's the biggest difference for me as a head coach. The talent level of the team is really good. I'm really happy with the newcomers that come in through the transfer portal and then as freshmen as well. So pitching wise, everybody's healthy. We're dealing with one injury right now, and then we're dealing with the normal little tweaks and bruises that occur. But overall, have to be happy with where we're at on the injury front, and that's our biggest concern here going down the stretch, is trying to keep those at a minimum, yet competing really hard in practice and being sure we're ready to go on opening weekend.
Coach, you guys obviously get to the Super Regional last year. You don't ultimately get to the goal that you want, which is to make it to the Women's College World Series and win it all. How have you seen your team embrace having a chip on their shoulder to want to get back there and then exceed, where they were last year?
I feel like it's I feel like the ball club really has a clear focus of where they want to go. And I think also they have a clear focus of a clear vision of how talented they are and how talented individually they can be, but how good the team can be as a whole. And have the maturity at the same time to know we come up short last year and we have to work really hard. So I think that what we're seeing in practice on a daily basis is that maturity, plus the confidence of just knowing that they have that talent. So I feel like they absolutely respond to the challenge in a very good, positive way. They're communicating well with each other. Stuff that would have been an issue personnel-wise in the past, they handle now among themselves in a lot more mature way, and shows a lot of maturity from the team members.
Is that just a matter of getting older, right? You use the portal to, after the season, you go through fall practice and you don't lose anybody, right? So what does that say about the culture and the mentality? The girls have talked a lot about the chemistry in the team. What do you kind of credit that to?
Yeah, it's definitely maturity. I think that, we had a lot of talent coming back, and then when you're portal, we pick up players like Brooke and Sam Rowe and Lexi and Denali and Sam Ryan. Like, those are 5 really huge additions to our ball club. It was already had a lot of talent, and the fall was so competitive. Like, it would not have surprised me if 3, 4, 5 players would have went on the portal at the end of fall, because it's so easy to go on the portal. And when you compete on a daily basis on the field, like the players know how competitive practices are. They know where they're at. And they can see the challenge to playing time and what lays in front of them. The road to playing time, very difficult this year. And so I thought that tremendous, it spoke tremendously about their competitiveness, about their desire to win, and about their commitment to the team and the program to all come back. And then they've just competed with class all spring, and we've not had any issues. It's been really good. The players get out, they go out, they compete, they get their hacks in, and some days they come out really good, and other days it's tough, but that's what's going to make them better. And the maturity with the way they've treated each other in the locker room has been phenomenal.
Coach, we talked all last year about how tough the schedule was. 7th toughest schedule in the country. You still managed to win 50 games, go to the Supers. You have 13 players back from that team last year. Just kind of talk about the confidence that gives you heading into the season, knowing what you can reach this year.
We think it's important to play a really tough schedule, and we're playing I think it's even better schedule this year, a more challenging schedule because of the way the travel involved, and there's nothing easy about last year's schedule. There's nothing easy about this year's schedule. And I think the maturity that those players gained, for Maya Davis and Lauren Allred to get to play against that on a daily basis, they get to go through it. It has to make them, it has to be huge benefits this year coming back. And we're going to need that, because the teams we got on our schedule, it's brutal from week one all the way through the season. It's a tough, challenging schedule, and we're going to need all the maturity and experience that we can get. And then I think adding players like from Florida that's been through the ropes, they've actually been on the field at the World Series. That's a good mix to have that coming in. And then also just like Brooke Elistad, tremendous talent, but yet hasn't experienced what she's going to experience on the field, the top 25 games on a daily basis. That influx of freshness, of enthusiasm that she's going to bring. So I think the mixture of all of it together is going to be really good. And I'm sure there'll be challenges as we go through the season, but it's going to be really, really good in my opinion.
Coach, what excites you about the pitching staff and where you are inside the circle?
There's 5 good pitchers, 5 quality arms. All of them bring something to our staff. I know Coach Justin, he will go to all 5 at key moments during the season. They'll all get opportunity against top teams. And as I watch them pitch in practice, the maturity, Sam Landry is a junior now and really a mature, veteran, tested player that understands college softball really well. And that's exciting when you think back. She's always been talented, but now she has that maturity and those wars behind her to help her increase the odds of success going into this year. And then, the Del Breach is going to bring some maturity. You've got a 5th-year player with Denali Lecker. And then Sam Ryan has been really, really good. And then, of course, you got your freshman Chloe, who's our only left-handed arm, but was in key games last year and pitched really good in some big moments for us. So I think Coach Justin has a lot of matchups he can do, and I think he has a lot of diversity on the staff between drop balls, rise balls, change-ups, and all the different pitches that you can use, arm side pitcher, glove side pitcher. He's got a lot of options that I think he can have a lot of strategy with as he goes into the schedule.
3 weeks into it, do you see as much experimenting in the first 3 or 4 weeks of the regular season as last year?
No, we got to win. We're going to, as long as we're winning, as long as we're successful. The only thing that could cause me to really start experimenting if we do start suffering more losses than what I expect, then obviously we'll start looking for answers. But I think we're going to the preseason inter squads and the preseason practices are going to lay out who our top 10, 11, 12 players are. And, we're going to roll into season with a clear direction as to where we're going.
Talk about bringing Shelly and Hunter onto your staff and, what they've provided this team.
It's been phenomenal, we lost a great coach with Coach Lacey, and, I'm excited about what lays ahead for her as a head coach. So I miss Coach Lacey every day. Got to visit with her Monday. She come out to the house, and my wife and I were able to visit with Coach, and she was excited. So I really appreciate all she did. But then it's also good to bring in enthusiasm and youth and mix it up a little bit. And Coach Hunter has been amazing with his defense. He's really he thinks out of the box. He's very, very confident in what he teaches. He's very much a teacher. He's a teacher that gets out on the field, and he's constantly teaching the players, talking to the players, shows them what he wants, tells them what he wants, explains it very well, very thoroughly. I think that's been good. And then Coach Shelley has really helped me on the hitting side. She gives me a lot of freedom to sit back and watch players and not be as personally involved with their hitting. I can watch where they're going, and she's bringing a lot of enthusiasm. Of course, she's played for a great hitting coach, so she's been around the game of hitting, and she's enthusiastic, and the kids respond to that. It's been really a lot of coaching going on by those two, and it's much appreciated by our players and by me as a coach.
Coach, you obviously know what Maya Davis can do as a player. What have you seen her be able to do from a leadership standpoint? Has it become more of being vocal, or is it just always going to be leading by example for her?
Yeah, no, I think she's working harder this year. I think I see Maya. She came in and really is a talented player, and I think this year she has a maturity to know, like, for me to to reach the goals that I want, no matter how much my talent is, I have to work really hard. And, the player she's competing, she wants to be the best center fielder in the country. Well, you got a Jada Coleman. She's got a lot of talent too, at Oklahoma, or you've got Briggs at LSU. And they've got a lot of talent too. They've all got talent. Those elite, when you start talking about those top 5 or 6 center fielders in the country, they all got talent. So now which one's going to go get it? Which one's going to work the hardest? And I think I see a lot of growth in her working. And I think that'll continue to improve as she goes into her the future years.
How do you see Denali's role? What do you see it being?
I think I definitely see her as a drop ball pitcher. It's going to give us innings with a drop ball when teams are coming in. If they start hitting the rise ball, they're showing they're up in the zone. There's going to be matchups where teams look weak against the drop ball, and she has an elite drop ball. So she'll definitely, in the bullpen, we're going to be looking to go to her anytime. And if it's a windy day, the wind blowing out, we want to keep the ball in the infield. She gets ground balls. I was just watching film last night of her pitching against Cal. She came in and got 5 straight ground balls. So there'll be games when, she gives us that option of knowing that we can keep the ball on the ground instead of in the air. So that on the bullpen side, that's what she'll give us. She also gives us, she got a lot of veterans. She's a big stronger. Like, she can go out there and go and go and go. So on the offensive side, she definitely, she shows signs like she hits the ball hard. Like, she consistently, when she hits it, it's either going to go to the wall or go over the wall. And she's going to give us a power swing. And I think for her offensively, it's going to be, we know that she's an RBI person. Like, she's shown the ability to have, to produce RBIs and to be a clutch hitter in big moments while she was at Iowa. I think a lot of it's just how good a start does she get off to. But I see her as a key player for us on the offensive side, as far as picking up RBIs at critical moments. And then where it ends up, I don't know, because that's one of the most, the DP spot, first base spot, those are all like super competitive positions for us.
What about the juggling of, you have certain players who are really good defensively, maybe don't hit as good as some of the other girls. What about that whole decision-making process?
Yeah, I think you'll see it. You're definitely going to see us put an emphasis on defense this year, because we can play good defense. I think we've got, we picked up key players at shortstop, third base. We were able to put Langlear's back at second, where I feel like her very best defensive position is second base. And so we're able to, because we added Brooke at short and Sissy's playing a really high level at shortstop, we're able to get Alexa a lot of time there. So I feel like the emergence of Vic Valdez, a catcher, defensively, she has really made strides in the fall and spring. Like, she's a whole nother level of defensive catcher than Vic was last year. And so I think that defense is something that we know this year we can put an elite defense on the field. So we're going to want to do that, especially in the big games, as much as possible. There'll be some games in the Sun Belt where we just say, let's just outscore them, and we can really get at bats to our best offensive players without as much concern about defense. But when you go into all these Power 5 matchups early in the season, we've got a good defense, and then we've got hitters that can come in. So I think we can platoon at least one position right off the bat. And if we have an injury, Langler's is dealing with some injury and it's day to day at this point. But if it gets into season, she's out, then I can see us platooning second base as well. So there'll be some of that go on, but we definitely can put a really elite level defense on the field this year at a different level of defense than what I feel like we have been able to in the past.
Dan brought up the pitching rule and the disengagement and all. I mean, is that going to make a big difference, or is that going to be not a big deal? Could it be?
It will for certain pitchers. Like, I think back Troy Johnson, that would have been. I mean, I just said yesterday to somebody, like, man, she graduated a year too late, because that rule would have changed her whole career. So I do think that there are pitchers that are going to greatly benefit from the rule change. on our particular staff, I don't know that it makes a lot of difference to anyone. I know Landry has always had to work a lot at keeping that foot on the ground. Like she had to work about it. Now she can work without even regard to that rule, without worrying about it. But as far as throwing harder or different, it doesn't really change the way her pitching. But there are pitchers in the country that's going to make a tremendous difference too. And I think it's probably time. It was a good rule to get rid of that. There's just too much on the umpires, and it made the sport ugly at key moments, like in the World Series, we're looking at the pitcher's toe and whether it's touching the ground or not. Now we can just focus on softball. And I think that's a really good thing for our sport in general.